Good morning, boys and girls. We are on page 123. Make sure you're turning to the correct page. This is lesson 23 for homework. So the first question says to divide and then check using multiplication. Due to space, we will not be checking using multiplication, but definitely make sure you are dividing and finding the answer. So for problem number 1, we have 9,962 divided by 41. So we're writing down 9,962 as our dividend and 41 as our divisor. And now I'm checking. And 41 times 2 is equal to 82. So I'm going to use 82 to subtract from 99. 9 minus 2 is equal to 7. 9 minus 8 is equal to 1. And I'm bringing down my 6. Now I have 176. How many times can 41 go into 176? 41 can go into 176 4 times. 41 times 4 is equal to 164, which is the closest to 176. 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. 7 minus 6 is equal to 1. And 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. Now I'm bringing down my number 2. How many times can 41 go into 122? 123 is too large. However, 2 times works. So I'm multiplying 41 times 2. 41 times 2 is equal to 82. I'm subtracting 122 minus 82, which gives you 40. So my remainder is equal to 40. Now I know that remainder is fine because 40, my answer or my remainder, is still less than 41, my number that is on the outside called the divisor. So it is fine. So that means my answer is correct and I can move on to problem B. For problem B, I have 1,495 divided by 45. I know that 45 can go in 45 times 3 is equal to 135. So I'm multiplying 45 times 3, which is equal to 135. 9 minus 5 is equal to 4. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1, and I'm bringing down my 5. Now, how many times can 145 or 45 can go into 145? Same answer. 45 times 3 is equal to 135. So I wrote down 3 at the top, multiplied, and got 135. Now I'm subtracting. 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. So my remainder is 10. 10 is less than my divisor 45, so it works out. Now I'm moving on to problem C. For problem C, I have 6,691 divided by 28. So 6,691, 28 can go into 66 2 times. 28 times 2 is equal to 56. So now I'm subtracting. 6 minus 6 is equal to 0. 6 minus 5 is equal to 1. And then I bring down my 9. 28 can go into 109 times 3 times. So 28 times 3 is equal to 84. So now I'm subtracting. 9 minus 4 is equal to 5. 10 minus 8 is equal to 2. Bring down my 1. How many times can 28 go to 251? 28 can go into 251 8 times. 28 times 8 is equal to 224. So I'm writing down 224. 11 minus 4 is 7. And 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. So my remainder is 27. So 27 is still less than 28, so that is correct. Now problem D. I have 2,625 divided by 32. 32 can go into 262 8 times. Subtract 256. 12 minus 6, I regrouped. 12 minus 6 is equal to 6. 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. Bring down my 5. 32 can go into 65 2 times. 32 times 2 is equal to 64. So now I have 65 minus 64, which is equal to 1. My remainder is equal to 1. So I have 82, remainder 1. Okay? Now I'm going to move on to problem E. For problem E, we have 2,409 divided by 19. So we have 2,409 divided by 19. Now I need to figure out how many times can 19 go into 24. 19 can go into 24 one time because if I were to multiply 19 times 2, it would be too big. So now I'm going to subtract or regroup. 14 minus 9 is equal to 5. Bring down my 0. 2 changes to 1. 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. I don't need to write that down. Now I need to figure out how many times can 19 go into 50. I'm going to try 19 times 2. 9 times 2 is equal to 18. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 38. Okay, so that one works. I'm going to use 2. Now I'm going to subtract. 10 minus 8 is equal to 2. 5 changes to 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. I'm going to bring down my 9. How many times can 19 go into 129? I'm going to multiply 19 times 6 and see if that works. 9 times 6 is 54. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11. I have 114. So I'm going to write that down, 114, and subtract. 9 minus 4 is equal to 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. So my remainder is 15. My remainder is still less than my divisor, so that works. So my answer is 126, remainder 15. Now I'm going to move on to the next problem. This is problem F. For problem F, I'm figuring out, can 62 go into 58? No. 62 cannot go into 58. However, 62 can go into 582. So I'm going to try 62 times 9, because it's a pretty big number. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 1 is 55. So that one works. I have 558. And 9 is the highest you can go for division. You can't go 10, because then that means you're leaving one place value in this spot and the other one in the other spot. That doesn't work. Now 2 minus 8 is not possible, so I'm going to regroup. 12 minus 8 is equal to 12 is equal to 4. 8 changes to a 9. 8 changes to a 7. 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. Bring down my 1. 62 can go into 241 about 3 times. I'm going to see if that works. 62 times 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. I get 186. So I'm going to use 186 and subtract. Regroup. 11 minus 6 is equal to 5. 4 changes to 3. Make sure to borrow or regroup. 13 minus 8 is going to give me 5. 2 changes to 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So that means that my remainder is equal to 55. So I have 93, remainder of 55. And 55 is still less than our divisor 62, so it is correct. Now, I'm going to turn the page, and we are on page 124. Make sure you are turning to correct page. And for this problem, it states, a political gathering in South America was attended by 7,910 people. Each of South America's 14 countries was equally represented. How many representatives attended from each country? So in my head, I'm picturing a story about what is going on. A political gathering. So they're gathering together, kind of like a meeting, and there's a lot of people. There's 7,910 people. And they want to know, what if there were 14 countries, because each of them are represented equally. So now we're going to divide. How many times do you think 14 can go into 79? I'm going to try 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So I'm going to write 5, and now I'm writing 70. Now I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 0 is 9. Bring down my 1, and 14 times a number is equal to 91, or close to 91. I'm going to try 6 and see if that's close. 4 times 6 is equal to 24. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is equal to 8. So I get 84, and I'm going to write down 6. Now I'm going to subtract. 11 minus 4 is equal to 7. 8 minus 8 is equal to 0. Bring down my 0. 14 can go into 70 5 times, because we figured out here 14 times 5 is 70. Now I'm going to subtract. 70 minus 70 is equal to 0. So that means that 565 representatives from each country were represented. Now I'm moving on to problem 3. A candy company, so imagine a candy company like Jolly Ranchers or Twizzlers or Swedish Fish or Sour Patch Kids, right? A candy company packages caramel, so caramel more close to chocolate probably, into containers that hold 32 fluid ounces. In the last batch, 1,848 fluid ounces of caramel were made. How many containers were needed for this batch? So they're asking me to divide in order to figure out how much caramel or containers are needed. So I'm figuring out how many times can 32 go into 1. 32 cannot go into 1. Can 32 go into 18? No. Can 32 go into 184? Yes. How many times? So I'm thinking in my head, if I were to estimate, how many times would 30 go into 180? I'm going to try 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16. So we have 160. So I am going to make sure I subtract. 4 minus 0 is equal to 4. 8 minus 6 is equal to 2. And I'm going to bring down 8. Now I need to figure out how many times can 32 go into 248. So I'm going to try 7 and see if that's correct. 32 times 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. 224 is very, very close. If I were to add another 32, I don't think I would get over 248. So this is the number I'm going to use, 224. 8 minus 4 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So my remainder is equal to 24. Okay, so the candy company will need 58 containers. 57 will be full. The 58th container will only have 24 fluid ounces because that is our remainder. That's where I'm getting that number from. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions in class and I can answer them.